and the dark, you know, dealing with grief and loss and longing, and was what I felt like this kind of. There's so much more even just in the silence of Stoic.
The movie is incredible. We are IMAX, so I gotta ask you, why should fans experience How to Train Your Dragon in IMAX?
One, it was shot very much lending its whole artistry to IMAX. And I think it's rare, really rare, that you see movies that are so visually captivating and stunning cinematically. It's weird to think you're not watching it in a screen like that. I think that it's such a visual treat.
When we were filming the movie, obviously, like, the sets were beautiful and stuff like that, and, you know, green screens or whatever, but we didn't really know how it was going to turn out, you know, because then again, we're just, you know, acting with green screens and on a fake dragon. But after seeing it done and seeing the effects and seeing the sets and the cinematography and the score, I mean, you really got to see it. I mean, people say this when they have movies coming out, but, like, this is, like, I mean, like, you have to see this on the biggest screen possible, and then it's just so, it transports you into this world.
Well, I mean, it was shot in that format, and it will look absolutely amazing in IMAX. So, yeah, I mean, that's, I mean, I think it's going to look fantastic anyway, but then you kind of multiply it by you know, 10.
Yeah.
It's like, I think the movie is at its peak and at its most immersive when it's seen on a huge screen, because it's like, you know, you get to experience all of the things that you're seeing people experience. Like, you know, it feels the closest you can get to flying a dragon is watching it, and watching it in a way that is in IMAX and totally consumes your vision and senses.
How was it getting into that beard and putting on the Viking stuff? Like, you looked incredible as a Viking, sir. I just totally believed it. But I'm like, what was that process like?
That process was long and at times dull, but it also helped me climb into character. But it was like 2.5 hours every day. Longer, we got it down to 2.5 hours just for the hair and makeup, over an hour to get on the costume. But that does give you a chance to sit and feel yourself building into Stoic. And then when you step out with that energy and power and that incredible costume, hair, beard, it was a metamorphosis, you know. I was literally transformed, and helped me so much just let go and play this character.
I gotta ask you about the flying scenes, because that was something I talked with Dean about. Could you take us behind the scenes of, like, how it was to actually film those? Because it sounded crazy.
Yeah, it was wild. I mean, what we had is we called it the gimbal. The best way I can describe it is it's basically a mechanical bull, but a dragon, and a lot more dangerous. I actually got a scar from the gimbal. Yeah, got a couple stitches. I'm a hero. What can I say? But yeah, no, that thing was absolutely insane. So it was surrounded by green screens, and then sometimes we would have like a lighting thing overhead that would be like, I don't really know how to explain it, but yeah, it was really cool. And you know, you shoot a movie and most of the stuff is out of order, but all the stuff on the gimbal, most of it was in order. So starting off with, you know, Toothless and Hiccup, you know, working it out with the string and him finding out which positions it are, and, you know, while I'm learning how to ride the gimbal, it's Hiccup learning how to ride Toothless, and, you know, that was a lot of fun for me.
I gotta say too, I mean, obviously you were part of the animated films, and I talked with Dean about this, but how can you speak on what it means to you to be able to take that character that you played in the animated films and bring him to life in this live action way? Could you talk about what that means to you and why it's so special?
Oh, I have a lot of emotion, a lot of love for this character. Fiction. I've just spent so much time with him, and I guess I forgive him more than most, because I understand the nobility and what he's trying to do. Even when he's messing things up, he's doing it because he cares about his people, and he cares about his son, loves his son. So I feel so much care and heart for him, but to take it now to the live action and have a chance, I think, to explore and examine way deeper into his psyche and see what he's really grappling with, this man, I feel like breaking open, and the dark, you know, dealing with grief and loss and longing, and was very powerful.
Could you talk about working with Mr. Dean and Gerard? I mean, there's such cornerstones of this franchise, and how that impacted your performance.
Well, meeting Dean and stuff, after I kind of got the job, I was kind of always amazed by how collaborative he was going to be. You know, it felt from the get-go that anything I had to bring in terms of different comedy or, you know, even ideas for different removable hands that Gobber has, you know. And then, you know, I'd been watching Gerard's films for 20 years. And then you get a chance to work with someone like him, and it was great. You know, there was a few scenes we did in the Great Hall where the only way to get into the Great Hall was through the main doors. So that was the first time on that set was Stoic.
Dean is, like, I think maybe the best person any of us
He's the
have
cutest
ever
human
met.
being
He is
I've
the
ever met.
sweetest person on the planet. He is also so wickedly smart and
Oh my God.
talented that it is kind of
You can just see
surreal.
his wheels turning. And then
He's
it's
ridiculous.
mad.
He's ridiculous. We're all obsessed with him. Me and Mason, the entire time, if we were ever doubtful of what we were doing, or we're kind of like, oh,
We would just
look
look at
really
Dean,
cringe,
and
or
then
whatever
if
it
Dean
was.
was happy, we're happy.
Yeah, it's literally like, if Dean's
Yep.
proud of us, the movie, who cares? If anyone
Yep.
sees it, it doesn't matter. If Dean is proud, then we're proud.
Yep.
And he just was so wonderful. And Jerry is like, it's just kind of
Mm.
iconic having him.
Jerry's fantastic,
Yeah.
and you know he'd walk on the set and he just was stoic. He brings this energy, this force, and you know it comes across on screen, like especially when you see it like
Yeah.
on the big screen. Is the way he breathes, the way just the way he is. Like he lives, he is stoic, and it was
It's
so
really
fun to watch
special.
him become that. And
Yeah.
it was great.
I think for fans of the animated one, like me and Mason, it was also just kind of a constant, like,
Yeah.
sometimes we'd be saying things, we would just be like, wow, because it's just so crazy.
You know, as writer and director of this film, but also so many films in the franchise, what does it mean to you personally to get to come back and really translate this to the live action experience? I mean, it's so epic, it's so visceral, it's familiar but new in so many ways. I would love to just kind of get your point of view personally, what it means to you.
Well, it means, first of all, it means a lot that that's your experience of it, because the goal was, can we preserve the heart and the wonder? That was most important. We didn't want a soulless cash grab of a live-action remake, and I think that was part of the thinking in approaching me in the first place. Is if we go to the original filmmaker, maybe we can preserve that integrity, despite the fact that I hadn't made a live-action movie. So a lot of this was an education, but most important to me was like, we want to transport the audience. We want to take them to a place in this world that actually exists, and yet it's dressed up in fantasy so that you never want to leave.